Hey everyone, welcome back to Desert Shield Sniper, and today I just want to make a short video about buying raw cards. Now, a package just arrived from the mail, so let's open this now and see what I got. Okay, let's cut this open. Alright, now as I mentioned before, when buying raw Desert Shield cards, I already have an expectation that it's going to have certain flaws and issues. And despite the listing saying that it's near mint to mint condition, um, it's always going to be slightly less than that in terms of the quality. But let's have a look. I might get lucky and we get very, very close to the quality that these cards have been described. Okay. Very nice. There's cardboard sandwich. Sure, I think these cards are in a top loader, but I always appreciate the extra cardboard to secure the cards. All right. Okay, first card here we have a Dave Justice. It's not bad. Centering slightly off. There's a tiny corner here is a bit soft, but the other three corners are not that bad. Let's have a look at the back. Centering on the back's pretty good. And everything else is pretty good. Yeah, so it's just really that corner there. Let's have a look at the surface, actually. Okay. I'm pretty sure you used an old sleeve, which is fine, by the way, but I don't see any imprints on the card, which is good. So actually, this is a pretty good, well, actually a slight imprint here. Yeah, there's a slight imprint right over, I don't know if you can see it, but right where my thumb is. But anyways, I mean, this is what I would expect from a raw card. And that is why I usually don't spend too much on a raw Desert Shield, even if it's like a star Hall of Famer like Griffey or whoever. But despite the slight little imprint here, this is actually in pretty decent shape, and I didn't pay that much for it. So let's have a look at the other card. This is the Ripken Record Breaker. We do have the roller mark, as we mentioned in the previous video. Corners are pretty good. At least I don't see, they may not be perfect, but it's not bad. Centering of the back looks decent. Let's have a look at the surface. Okay, that's actually from the sleeve. I just don't want to take it out of the sleeve at the moment. It's kind of difficult for me to handle a camera and record and take the card out of the sleeve without damaging it. But the card looks, that's also from the sleeve, but that card looks pretty good actually. This is a pretty good copy. Almost like a gradable copy. Now mind you though, I suspect that any record Cal Ripken record breaker with the roller mark is not going to get that high of a grade, like possibly an 8 at most. That's what I think. I don't have any evidence to back this up. But anyhow, though, I think I was pretty lucky with this purchase. Both cards weren't expensive at all. I know sometimes certain star Hall of Famers can go like one or two or even $300, depending on which one, right? Like obviously, if you have a Chipper Jones, that may cost you a bit more. But I kind of tend to stay away from that because there's just too many issues that could happen when it comes to grading in terms of surface issues and the edge chipping, which are things that it's very hard to tell in the listing photo. Now, one other thing I forgot to do, and which I should do, is the black light tests. Now, okay, they have one of these top loaders where everything is highlighted. So I gotta take the card out again, or at least part of the card, and let's have a look. Oops. Oh, okay, it glows. It's good. And then I'm pretty sure the Justice glows as well, but let's have a look anyways. Yep. Okay, so once again, even though it glows doesn't mean it's authentic, but if it doesn't glow, there's a very high chance that it's not. Now, in a previous video, I did mention that there is a very small number of the Shield cards that may not be glowbacks. However, at the moment, the only card that I'm aware of that is not a glowback, and it's his checklist number 3. Yeah, 3. Just want to make sure. So, yeah, and I haven't seen any player card that is not a glowback. So I think the chances of that small number of cards that are not glowbacks is actually just checklist number 3. If anyone knows of any card that has been proven to be authentic and it's not a glowback, please leave me a comment and let me know. That would be pretty cool to find out. Now, one other thing is let's have a look at the Shield. Now, I saw a post today where someone was talking about how they speculate a Shield was fake, but I couldn't see how it was fake. And I've come across a lot of fake Shields. I'm no expert, but I've seen quite a few fake Shields. But to be honest, the Shield that was, and I'll post this, the picture that was posted on the group, but looked very similar to this one. Let me see if I can blow it up a bit. Okay. Sorry, I'm not too good with the magnifying glass here. Okay. So this is definitely an authentic Shield. Let's have a look at the other one. And I see that sort of a dust on the magnifying glass, but just trying to get this in focus so you can see. It's so hard to use this. Let me see if I turn on the light. Just wipe the glass here. Haven't used this in a while. Okay. Okay, that's a little better. So many people have asked, like, how do you tell if it's a really good fake? How do you tell if the shield is fake? Well, I've seen really good fakes, and especially I have a Ripken that is fake as well. Actually, let me take that out. Give me 1 second. I think it would make a very good comparison actually, because I have a Ripken that's fake, and it's a very good fake. And I'd say the shield is very close to, I'd say probably like 98% authentic. But there are a few things that sort of expose that it was fake. Now, this is my fake Ripken, and I only put it in a DIY slab, by the way, so this is not an actual PSA slab. It's just something I made myself. So let's have a look at the card. Now, they're both glow backs. I'm not going to bother with the blacklight test. And if you look at the cards, there's no such thing as fake card because it's actually made with the base 91 tops, right, as we mentioned before. However, the shield is what's not authentic about it. So let's have a look. I'm not going to bother with the magnifying glass, but if you compare the two shields, and sorry, I know it's kind of hard to see this, but this one's pretty good. But because I know what to look for immediately, I can spot what's wrong with this right away. Okay. Now, first of all, it's very minor, but you'll see that with the L and the D, there's nothing wrong with this one. Let me just zoom in. Okay. Yeah. So the L and D, it's the lettering is quite what should I say? It's not crooked. But if you look at the L and D, see how the D drops? Like it's basically slanted. And that's one giveaway. And the other one is the A and the T. Can you see the A and T? The A is the T is slanted, and the top of the A is pretty much touching the T. And same with the bottom of the right side of the A. So there's something, wonky about the font. Whereas in the authentic shields, it's pretty good. Okay. So let's have a look at the other shield. Yeah. So there's nothing wonky about the font here as well. Another thing is the stars and the stripes. See how the stars and the stripes are. It's very clear, and and I think even with the overstamped or understamped foils, the image of the flag is very distinct. But you still see, well, what I guess you would still call that stripes, but it's not as distinct. Can you see the difference? This is very distinct. But meanwhile, this is just like, okay, let me just get in focus to be fair. You know what I mean? It's just like, it doesn't really look like a flag if you look closely. Yeah, so definitely the detail on the flag is horrible. Yeah, so that's one thing. And then the other thing which really when you look at more Desert Shield cards, one is the shape of the shield, and the other is the size of the shield. You'll find on several copies, fake copies, that the shield is slightly bigger, and it's also like a more rounded shape, especially the bottom. So yeah. So anyways, these two, not that I'm an expert, but from my experience, are authentic. Um, so if you're wondering how to check whether your cards are authentic or not, what I just mentioned, the fonts, the detail of the flag, and also the tree trunk with the authentic tree trunks. And this one is a better copy, so that you don't really see it. But with the really bad fakes, it widens at the bottom. And there's also a lot of other ways too, but I talk more about it in the other video that I posted earlier. But anyways, back to buying raw. So why do I buy it and why I don't buy it? Okay. Um, so for example, the Dave Justice, I've been trying to look for a PS89 copy, and there are some copies available, but they're not cheap. And Dave Justice is one of those cards where I'm not. I don't want to spend a couple $100s on them. I won't. I don't mind if it's around $100 to $200, and $200 is really close to the max I want to pay. But I haven't found much where I may came across like one or two Dave Justice like near $200, but or even below that. But I just didn't like the centering or something wrong with the card where I just wanted to pass and wait for another one. But I this one came along and wasn't expensive at all, and it's a good card to have as a filler. And if you're a collector, you don't really mind um, small surface issues that aren't like an eyesore. Okay, I know it's not fair to say like collectors don't care about surface issues. Of course they care, but if it's not an eyesore, it doesn't hurt as much because it really you're not planning to sell the card soon or flip the card, and you're basically um, it's all in your PC. So what's really important to me is the centering. Okay, so between the two cards here, it's obvious the Ripken has the better centering. Meanwhile, the Justice it's slightly off, right? It's slightly off center to the left, but I consider this as acceptable. Um, the other thing is, well, you would have to also consider the fact that if you're willing to go slightly lower in grade, well, how much would a Dave Justice PSA 8 cost? So if you don't mind buying a lower grade or even a 7 maybe, and I tend not to go below a 7 because once you start going to the 6 and the 5s, the surface issues or the corner dings or the edges and so forth, there may be a more severe issue with those cards where it's more evident and the eye appeal starts to be affected. So I tend to, before I buy a raw card, I tend to check out the PSA 8s most because I find that if you buy, for example, PSA 8 Cal Ripken may still be, over $100, maybe. But with the Justice, you probably get it for less than that. So if the raw card was selling for like $30, $40, let's say, and I can probably find a deal for a PSA 8 for like $60, $70, then I'd definitely go with a PSA 8 because at least I'm sure like a lot of, I shouldn't say most, a lot of the graded copies may not be accurately graded. And I think, if you watch a lot of other videos online, a lot of people will have mentioned this. But I do think that at least with a graded copy, first of all, you can be more assured, and I'm not saying that it's absolute, that the card is authentic, especially if you have a PSA copy. And secondly, there is a certain level standard of the quality that you can be assured of. All right, and I think that will be true, especially if you have it like a newer grade. So yeah, so that's the benefit of buying. Even if you're buying like a mid-high grade, like a PSA 8, where I know everyone wants a 9 or 10, but if the price is not that much higher, I'd probably go for an 8 or even a 7 rather than a raw copy, because I'd say majority of the raw copies that you buy will most likely fall into the 5 to 7 category. And I'd say less likely 8 or 9. Okay. And because if it had a chance to go, especially with the Desert Shield set, I think if the card had a chance at a 9, the collector or dealer or whatever would most likely take a chance and grade the card. So yeah, and so first of all, at this day and age, don't expect a raw copy to grade high. And for me, my opinion about buying raw is that you buy it so that you have a card in your PC, and not that because you expect that card to be able to grade, or 8 or higher. So that's my take on buying raw cards. Now, let me know what you think about these two cards. Would you have bought these raw, or would you have waited? And mind you, I mean, eventually I'll buy. I have a graded copy of this already, and I think I've like a couple raw ones actually. But this is my first Day of Justice. I can't believe I've waited so long just to get a copy of this. But yeah, would you have bought the raw card, or save the money on raw and waited for a decent 9 or 10? Now, most likely, and in my case, I admit it, I probably bought this because there's a part of me that's fear of missing out, right? Because the fact that lately a lot of these Desert Shield cards, their prices have been going up quite a bit. And so, I just want to get a copy of this before the raw cards start going up as well. And or the fact that, just so I could get a, pretty decent copy, pretty well centered, although not perfect, which is getting harder and harder to find, because I do think majority of the people that are buying these cards aren't really flipping them, but rather they're collectors. And the problem with, most people buying and being collectors is that they don't tend to sell in a very short time frame. So sometimes certain cards, like I was saying with the Edgar Martinez, once someone buys it, it's a while before you see another 9 and 10 come out like on eBay. So yeah, so sorry, I thought I was going to make a short video, but end up I talked a lot about other things as well. So I hope you liked this video. Just wanted to make a video and start a conversation about buying raw cards again, which I'm not opposed to, by the way. That's why, as long as you don't pay a lot for it, okay? This is my own advice. Don't, even with the Griffeys or Nolan Ryan, okay? Just keep in mind, most likely they're going to grade like 5 to 7. And, look up the prices of these cards that are 5 to 7. And I think that you should also kind of discount that price too, because that is actually a PSA graded price, or whatever grading company you're using. And if the seller is asking for more, and whether or not you can afford it, you should really think twice before you buy it, because most likely you're going to be overpaying for those cards. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye now.